In this video we're going to add a nice little element to our video player. We're going to add a screen which has a play button in the middle which you can press whenever the video still needs to start. And whenever you pause the video, this screen pops up again and it kind of overlaps the video itself. So let's add that right now. Now before we do that within our JavaScript file, we first need to add that screen within our HTML file. So within the video container, I'm going to define this screen as a div. I'm going to put it above the video itself. Now this div is going to have an ID of screen. And inside the div, I'm going to place an image. And the source of that image will be images/play.png. So you'll see this play button in the middle of the video when the video still needs to start. Now in our CSS style sheet, let's style this a little bit. Because it's inside the video container, it would make sense to put that CSS here. So let's call out that screen element. And the first thing that I want to do is set the height and the width to 100% of its parent, just as the video. So height 100%, width 100%. And to make sure that that image is centered nicely within this screen div, let's set the line height equal to 360 pixels, which is the same height as the parent video container. And let's set the text align property equal to center. Now as for the actual image within the screen, we can call that out by using screen image. And as our screen only has one image, this is fine. And then here, let's set the vertical align property to middle. Alright, if we now view this in the browser by refreshing, you're going to notice that we've got this screen, but it's on top of the video itself. And of course we want it to overlap the video. Now in order to do that, we need to adjust the position setting on the screen and the video container. If we set the position of this screen div equal to absolute, and we set it equal to relative on this video container, that will effectively cause these two elements to completely overlap. And I'm going to show you. On the screen, I will set the position equal to absolute. And on the video container, I'm going to set the position equal to relative. And now, if we refresh it, you'll notice that the screen has overlapped the video. And just to make sure that the screen is always on top of the video container, let's just add a z-index of 1 and flag it as important, so that this can never be changed, that the screen is always on top of the video. Now, before we move on to the JavaScript, let's just make this a little bit nicer, this screen, by making a radial gradient which kind of fades out to the middle, where it's dark at the edges and it's transparent in the middle. Now, instead of using all that complicated radial gradient syntax, I'm just going to use some radial gradient generator from the internet. I'll just type CSS radial gradient generator into Google. There's probably going to be some result here by colorzilla.com. And in here I'm just going to auto-generate that CSS for me. Let's see. Here I find a nice preset, so let's use that. And this is kind of what I want. I want it to be opaque on one side and dark at the edges. But instead of a vertical gradient, I want a radial gradient. And as you can see, this one is dark in the middle, but I want to switch that. I want to make it dark at the edges and opaque in the middle. So, or transparent in the middle. So let's see, let's set the opacity to 0 in the middle. And let's set it equal to 65 at the edge. Now as you can see, it has auto-generated all this CSS code for me. So all I gotta do is copy this. And now if I paste it into our screen, let's just add some indentation. Alright, and now if we refresh the browser, we should see a nice radial gradient. And this looks a lot better in my opinion. Alright, now let's add in the functionalities with JavaScript. The first thing to do is to add a listener to this screen button right here. But before we can do that, we should give an ID of screen button. Now inside our JavaScript file, we can reference that at the top by calling from the video container, because it's inside the video container, screen button equals document.getElementById screen dash button. Now let's add an event listener to this screen button. Screen button dot add event listener. Of course, we're listening to a click event. And whenever we click the screen button, I just want to run the play or pause function that we've already defined. So clicking that button will cause the video to play. So let's try it out. If you now click this play button right here, the video starts playing. If you click it again, it pauses. However, I want this entire screen to disappear whenever the video is playing. So to do that, we would have to update our play or pause function a little bit. Let's see, if we call video play, the video will be playing, and this entire screen right here needs to be invisible. So let's also grab this screen by its ID in our JavaScript file. Alright, screen. But I think that's a bad idea because JavaScript already has a screen variable by default. So let's just call it pause screen. It's equal to document.getElementById screen. And whenever the video is playing, I want to set the display property on that pause screen. So pause screen dot style dot display. I want to set it equal to none. However, whenever we have paused the video, I want the pause screen to appear again. So I'm going to write pause screen dot style dot display is equal to block. Alright, and if we now test it in the browser, refresh and click this button, you notice the pause screen disappear. And if we hit pause in the bottom corner here, it appears again. Alright, so that's kind of nice. But what if the video has ended? Also, if the video is ended, I want to show that pause screen. So whenever the video is ended, let's set the pause screen display back to block. But I also want to change the icon within that pause screen. And to do that, let's see what we call it, screen button. We're going to set the source on the screen button. So let's see if the video has ended from our update player function. On screen button, we're going to set the source attribute to images/replay.png. But then we should also set it back whenever we are pausing the screen. So let's set it equal to play.png here. And let's also set it equal to play.png here. So now, whenever we refresh it and play it, this is still working. However, when we get to the end of the video and play, it appears again, and now it has this replay button. And then we can play it again and pause, and it has changed back into this play button. Now, before we end this video series, there's just one last bug that we need to get out of our video player. I've noticed that when you play the video and it gets to an end, it shows this replay button. But then if we go back in time, this replay button should actually change again into a play button, because now I just want to start playing. So let's quickly fix that. Now it all starts with the skip function right here, because this function gets called when we click the progress bar, even though the video has already ended. And at the end, it's running this update player function. So in this update player function, instead of only checking if the video has ended, let's check if the video has not ended. Let's check if the video is paused. So else if video.paused. And if that is the case, I want to set both the source on the play button as on the screen button. So alright, play button dot src equals images/play.png, and screen button dot src equals images slash play.png. And now, if the video comes to an end, after we refresh the browser, it is this replay button, but if we now click somewhere, it changes back into a play button. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this HTML5 video player series. I hope I've learned you something. All source code, again, is going to be available at cocotuts.com. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in a different course.